What's up with Wolverine's claws in Logan? What's with that cough, and why is it bloody? What's that infection on his knuckles Caliban talks about? And what exactly did his body go through in that intense showdown with the dark side of Jean Grey? The answers to these and other curious questions, right here in this video. Today, let's take a look back at some of the most unforgettable messes Wolverine's physical body had to endure throughout his life. And of course, when talking about those challenges, there's no way to skip over the masterpiece that is Logan, a film completely drenched in the raw pain of his emotional and physical struggles. We'll be tackling his mental health issues in Logan in a future video. For now, here's my take. The poison eating Logan up from the inside, adamantium, is definitely real, but it's far from the main cause of his problems. It's more of an aggravating factor. Logan himself mentions in the film that adamantium is probably poisoning him, but it's not until the end of the movie, through the antagonist's revelation, that we and Logan learn the actual truth. A form of genetic therapy delivered through food and related products wiped out nearly the entire mutant population. As a result, his healing ability took a major hit. And it's not just that Logan's healing powers were weakened, the whole mechanism behind them changed. Back in the day, his healing worked through regeneration, meaning a full restoration of tissues by properly differentiating stem cells, like how it works in amphibians. Now though, we see his damaged areas being patched up with scar tissue, just like the rest of us, made of collagen. Wolverine's original healing process was insanely complex, especially for such an advanced organism. It was always on the edge of potentially forming malignant tumors and demanded an absurd amount of energy to pull off. It's honestly mind-blowing how mutant bodies can generate such insane amounts of energy. And this isn't just about Wolverine. All of this just proves again that Logan is the most resilient of his kind. Even with the near-complete annihilation of X genes, his abilities didn't vanish entirely. They adapted. They found an alternative, less energy-intensive way to function. Sure, it doesn't make him immortal anymore, but it does keep him going. Interestingly, this was already relevant to his body in The Wolverine, 2013. The scene in Days of Future Past also highlights Logan's adaptive mutation abilities. When Magneto pins him with rebar and sends him to the bottom of the river, instead of endlessly suffering from mechanical asphyxiation and constant self-resuscitation, like what we've seen in a certain questionable Netflix project, he enters a temporary state of hibernation. Of course, while this second method of healing is less energy-intensive than the first, that doesn't mean it doesn't drain significant resources from his dying mutant body. As he keeps taking more and more injuries, his body eventually can't keep up. On top of that, throughout the entire film, Logan continues the course of anti-mutant gene therapy. Yeah, nearly 24 hours after his fight with the clone, the nasty gash on his right side still hadn't started to heal. And here's the kicker. The doctor who wanted to study his body didn't even bother to stitch up or cover that wound. For Wolverine, the biggest downside to the traditional healing method is that scar tissue from his injuries also forms on some of his internal organs, reducing their functionality. For example, scarring on the heart caused by heart attacks doesn't contribute to its contractions. We can only imagine how many scars might be affecting the efficiency of Logan's internal organs. Another issue with Wolverine's physical condition in Logan is the clear presence of an autoimmune disease. This occurs when the immune system malfunctions and mistakenly starts attacking healthy tissues. The causes of such conditions are vast and partly unexplored. But in Logan's case, it's tied to the chronic presence of a foreign body in his system, adamantium, which due to recent events, his immune system has stopped tolerating. We know Logan's uniqueness was that his body didn't reject adamantium, likely due to the metal's unique properties. However, the impact of the autoimmune disease on his body is systemic, with clear symptoms, including dysfunction of vital organs, as seen in his damaged respiratory system, blood entering his lungs, and chronic coughing, deteriorating vision, joint damage, evidenced by his limp. Similar problems with skeletal and connective tissue also affect the functionality of his claws, as they are a direct extension of his skeleton, at least according to the later films. Another unpleasant consequence of such conditions is impaired blood renewal, which adds further complications to his healing process. Because of his lost abilities and the presence of adamantium, Logan's body is essentially destroying itself from the inside, and there's no way to remove the primary irritant to his immune system. Another detail worth noting is the scene with Caliban, where Logan couldn't read the label on a bottle of ibuprofen. This suggests he regularly takes anti-inflammatory drugs. I think this isn't due to general chronic inflammation in his body, but specifically because of his claws. Caliban points out that Logan tries to hide the fact that he's wiping pus from his knuckles. His wounds heal slowly, and his recovery process has fundamentally changed. The frequent presence of unhealed claw wounds and the unsanitary conditions Logan lives in lead to infections in the wounds on his hands, which he can no longer deal with on his own. And now we suddenly and abruptly jump to the main event of this video, the most memorable and ambitious display of Logan's phenomenal self-healing abilities that we've ever seen in his cinematic journey. Of course, I'm talking about that scene, the showdown with Dark Phoenix at the climax of X-Men: The Last Stand. So, what do we have here? Well, this. Jean Grey, wielding an absolutely colossal power capable of disintegrating anything, from people to military equipment, focuses her strength and attention on our old pal Logan, who turns out to be the only one able to endure it and put an end to her rampage. Here's something worth noting. If you look closely, Jean Grey's attack doesn't pass through Logan. The dust you see behind him is coming from the sides. It's dust that, just a second ago, was part of his torso and arms. Mostly because he's moving forward with his torso out, Jean Grey's power seems to scatter along a cone-shaped trajectory when it hits him, unable to penetrate his body and destroy his organs, even when his ribcage is exposed. Let's chalk that up once again to the unique properties of adamantium. And here's the kicker. Judging by Jean Grey's words when Logan finally gets close to her,
"You would die for them,"
and her overall demeanor, she wasn't even trying to kill him yet. It's more like she was toying with him. I guess that's pretty standard behavior for a being driven purely by instinct. Still, what exactly did Logan have to go through? As we can see, it was mostly his skin that took the brunt of the damage. His skin was stripped away in large sheets, down to the subcutaneous fat layer. In this scene, Logan lost and regenerated roughly 1.5 square meters of skin, basically as much as an average adult has in total. He also had to give up some muscle, primarily in areas with thinner muscle mass, like the back of the forearm and parts of the chest. The meatiest chunks came from the lower and side sections of his ribs. Overall, Logan lost no more than 2 to 3 kilograms of muscle, only about 7% of his total muscle mass. No big deal, right? Today, you've learned a little more about Wolverine. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to subscribe to my channel, hit the like button, and leave a comment. And don't forget to share this video with your friends. See you next time.